Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well today. Before we dive into this powerful story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Ultra Motivate family. Your support helps us keep creating more life-changing content for you. Alright, let's begin. Life has a strange way of whispering to you long before you ever learn how to listen. Sometimes the whisper feels like a quiet thought. Other times it shakes you like thunder, pushing you forward even when you don't understand why. But every whisper, every nudge, every invisible pull has a purpose. And now, as your journey continues, life prepares you for something far bigger than anything you've faced before. Because growth never happens in comfort. Strength never forms in silence. And destiny never reveals itself to those who stand still. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize you weren't created just to survive. You were created to rise. And maybe you don't see it yet. Maybe the world around you feels heavy. Maybe you've been fighting a battle no one knows about. Maybe you're tired. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, but the kind that comes from carrying a weight alone for far too long. But here's the truth the world never told you. The greatest stories are written in silence. And the strongest warriors are built in darkness. You see, every struggle you've faced, every storm that tore through your life, every night that felt endless, it was shaping you into someone unstoppable, someone unbreakable, someone who isn't defined by their past, but forged by it. And now, as this chapter opens, your life is about to shift. Not gradually, not slowly, but suddenly. Because life doesn't wait for permission. Destiny doesn't knock politely. It arrives like a wave, and only those who are willing to step into the water ever learn how far they can go. Maybe the world counted you out. Maybe people walked away. Maybe you lost things you never thought you'd lose. Maybe you even questioned yourself, wondering if you were truly meant for anything greater. But let me tell you something powerful. The world's opinion is not your destiny. Your setbacks are not your identity. Your past is not your prison. There's a version of you, stronger. He didn't know exactly when things started to shift, but something inside him was growing. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was steady. A new kind of awareness was forming, the kind that happens after you've pushed through enough hard days to realize you deserve better. He woke up each morning with a feeling that maybe life was waiting for him to claim it, not run away from it. And although the road was still uncertain, he no longer felt powerless on it. He began learning to trust small steps. Not giant leaps, not perfect days, just consistent movement. One quiet morning at 6 a.m., he found himself sitting near his window with a cup of coffee, watching the sky lighten. He had woken up early, not because he was forced to, but because something inside him wanted to. He didn't need alarms anymore. His purpose had become one. There was a strange calmness in that moment, as if the world was whispering that he was finally aligning with something bigger than his doubts. He started journaling, not to impress anyone, but to understand himself. Every line he wrote revealed a part of him he had ignored for years. Thoughts he had kept buried, dreams he had stopped believing in, fears that had controlled him silently. The more he wrote, the lighter he felt, as if he was removing layers of old versions of himself that were no longer needed. And as he moved through his days, he started noticing tiny wins that he used to overlook. Finishing tasks he used to procrastinate. Keeping promises he made to himself. Saying no to things that drained him. Saying yes to things that challenged him. These victories were small, but powerful. They were building a foundation he could finally stand on. There were still moments of doubt. Still moments when he wondered if he was wasting his time, if he was pretending to be someone he wasn't. But he learned something important. Doubt cannot stop a person who has already survived their worst days. He had already been broken before. He had. There comes a moment in life when a person realizes that growth is not about what they achieve in public, but what they overcome in private. The battles no one sees, the doubts no one hears, the nights spent questioning everything, and the mornings where the weight of yesterday still sits heavy on their chest. It's these invisible battles that shape a person into someone stronger than they ever expected to become. And that's exactly the place Noah found himself in. He wasn't struggling because he was weak. He was struggling because he finally chose a path that demanded more strength than he ever used before. Every meaningful journey brings resistance. Every dream worth chasing comes with a price. And the moment you decide you want more from life, life begins to test how badly you really want it. Noah understood this now, even though part of him still feared it. He used to think that once he started improving his life, things would get easier. But he soon realized something deeper. Life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And strength doesn't grow during comfort. It grows during pressure, during uncertainty, during those moments when you want to quit, but choose not to. Strength is built when no one is watching, when no one claps for you, when no one understands the weight you're carrying. That's where real transformation begins. Noah had spent months pushing himself, waking up earlier, studying harder, fighting old habits, and try to build new ones. And even though he had made progress, something inside him felt unsettled. Not because he wasn't moving forward, but because he feared losing momentum. He feared falling back into the old version of himself he worked so hard to escape. Every step forward came with the fear of slipping. Every victory came with the feeling that maybe it wouldn't last. One evening, after a long, exhausting day, Noah sat alone on a quiet bench overlooking the city. The wind was calm. The streets below were glowing with warm lights. Life sometimes moves in ways we don't understand. One moment, everything feels stable, solid, and predictable. Then suddenly things begin to shift, quietly at first, then loudly. And you find yourself standing in a place you never expected, questioning everything you thought you knew about who you are and where you are going. This is a journey almost every strong person goes through, whether they talk about it or not. It's the moment life tests you, not to break you, but to show you the parts of yourself you haven't met yet. There are times when you wake up and feel like nothing is working. You try, you push, you put in the effort, yet the results come slowly or sometimes not at all. And when you look around, it feels like other people are moving ahead faster than you, getting opportunities you wanted, achieving goals you dreamed about, living the life you're still fighting for. It makes you wonder if something is wrong with you. But in truth, nothing is wrong. Sometimes the universe delays things to prepare you for something greater than you imagined. The strength you gain in the waiting becomes the foundation for what you will handle later. You see, life is not only about speed. It is about depth. Some people rise fast because they build shallow. Their foundation cracks under pressure. But those who rise slowly, they rise strong. They rise steady. They rise unshakable. Every challenge, every setback, every silent season becomes a brick in their foundation. And when their time finally comes, nothing can stop them. There are chapters of life where you don't feel understood. You try to explain your goals to people around you, but they don't see what you see. You share your dreams, and they call them too big. You talk about your plans, and they tell you to be realistic. But dreams aren't meant to be understood by everyone. They were given to you, not to them. And if they can't see what you see, that doesn't make your vision impossible. It just means it's yours to build. There are times in a person's journey when they start to realize that growth is not something that happens in a single moment. It unfolds slowly, quietly, like light spreading across a dark horizon. And even when someone begins to change, even when they take the first steps out of the life that once trapped them, they soon discover that the real battle begins not when they are lost, but when they start to find direction. Because finding direction means confronting everything inside you that resists change. Every doubt, every fear, every excuse disguised as logic. And that is exactly what happened next. After months of small improvements, moments of clarity, and new habits beginning to take root, something unexpected happened. The excitement Evan felt in the beginning started fading. Not because he was doing something wrong, but because progress had brought him to a new level of challenges he had never faced before. He woke up one morning feeling a strange heaviness, something he hadn't felt in months. The alarm rang, but instead of getting up with energy, he lay there staring at the ceiling, feeling that old voice creeping back into his mind. The same voice that once told him he wasn't good enough. The same voice that asked, what if all this effort leads to nothing? It was softer now, but it was still there, waiting for a moment of weakness. He sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes, noticing how different everything felt. The sunlight coming through the window wasn't inspiring today. The air felt heavy. His room felt smaller. His thoughts moved slower. It was one of those mornings when the world feels like it's pressing down on your shoulders for no clear reason. And he knew, deep down, that this was a test. Not the kind of test life gives when you're lost, but the kind it gives when you're growing. The kind that asks, how badly do you want the life you say you want? Growth is not a straight line. It bends and twists, and sometimes it squeezes you so tightly that there are moments in life when everything feels still. Not peaceful, just still. Like you're standing in the middle of a silent room, unable to see what comes next. And it's in those moments when fear is whispering, when doubt is tightening its grip, when your future feels blurry, that a person is forced to decide who they will become. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. My friend, welcome back to Ultra Motivate. Today's message is not just a story. It's a reminder, a mirror, reflecting the part of you that refuses to give up, even when everything else seems to fall apart. So listen closely, because this story begins the same way many great transformations begin, with a person who believed they were running out of time. The story, The Edge of Change. There was once a young man named Evan, 28 years old. Average job, average days, average nights. The kind of life that looks calm on the outside, but feels suffocating on the inside. You might know that feeling. You wake up tired. You go through routines that slowly eat pieces of your spirit. People around you think you're fine, but inside, you know something is missing. That was Evan. Every morning he walked the same path to the bus stop. Same cracked sidewalk. Same street light that flickered like it was trying to stay alive. Same strangers passing by, never noticing the storm inside him. But what bothered him most wasn't the routine itself. It was the voice inside his mind telling him, you were meant for more. A voice he kept trying to silence because he didn't know what more even meant. The turning point. One Friday morning, something changed. Evan overslept, missed his bus, and began walking to work frustrated and angry. At himself, at life, at everything. To save time, he cut through a small park he normally ignored. And that's where he saw an old man sitting alone on a bench, feeding birds with slow, peaceful movements. The old man looked up, noticed Evan's FR.